almost think of Tusker Milele and how it has brought the conversations on sports, the conversation on athletics, that when people meet to have these things, celebratory moods, then there's always a Tusker there. Hello, hi there, and welcome to another episode of Strategic Lenses podcast. This, I've even lost count now. This is, I think, episode 5 or 6, somewhere there. But yes, it's been amazing sharing my personal journey and experiences on various topics, knowing the kind of lenses that you have on the topics, and trying to give you what has worked for me. I hope you're trying them out. So this is really a continuation from the happiness episode we had last time, and one out of the 4, the last one was on purpose, really knowing about your purpose. And purpose is a huge topic. It's something that everybody should know about themselves. Everybody should know why they exist, or just half of why they exist in this world, and why God has put them to exist here. As mentioned, I'm a marketer. I've worked with brands, and the reason why purpose is at the core of every brand is because there's a research we've done that our company has done, and it has discovered that if today brands were to disappear, all brands were to disappear, for example, up to 76% of brands would disappear just like that, without no one remembering them, without no one knowing why they existed, because they did not have purpose. They did not have an emotional connection to the consumer. Because when a brand, I always say, when a brand celebrates 5 years of existence or 10 years of existence, so the question that most consumers would ask is, okay, fine, you're celebrating 5 years, so what? So what? That only means that they did not attach themselves to that particular brand. Now, if brands can identify and know their purpose, then why can't we bring those principles that we use to help brands identify purpose for and bring them to ourselves? How do we then use these principles to identify our purpose? Now, I just want to create some scenarios for us to understand this topic better, because purpose is huge. For me, I define purpose as your why of existence. Now, there's a guy I follow called Simon Sinek. He's a leadership coach and does amazing work in terms of just speaking to people and helping people become better. So Simon Sinek has coined, let me call it, I don't know what to call it, but a principle. Let me call it a principle called the golden circle. The golden circle has 3 circles. You can imagine a spiral. So the middle circle is small, then the next circle, and then a third circle. Now, in the middle, he writes why, and then the second circle he writes how, and then the last circle, the biggest circle, he writes what. So most of us know what we do, or even if you're talking about a brand, for example, I'll give an example of Coca-Cola. I like using Coca-Cola as an example. Coca-Cola knows what they do. What do? They sell drinks, and they sell soft drinks. They sell, Coke, Fanta, Sprite, just something to drink, quench your thirst. They know how they do it. How do they do it? They have this secret ingredient or whatever it is they have that brings out, the best refreshing. Let's say if it's Sprite, it refreshes you. If it's the Keringet water, even the way they make it feel like it's pure, it's natural, so that it nourishes. If it's Coke, the Coke itself, they even have the Coke Zero. They want to make it sugar free. They want to tell you that it's the perfect drink you'll ever have, when you're thirsty, for example. So that's how they do it. But the other question is why they do it. And why is where most brands actually fail the test, or even as people, that's where we fail the test. We know what we do, we know how we do them, but why do we do them? That is where the conversation on purpose comes from. And I will still give you an example of Coca-Cola. Now, when you look at their commercials, they have brought together a family. You see the grandfather is there, the grandmother is there, the mother, the father, the children are there, the grandchildren are there. There's even a dog, there's even a cat. You know, people are having a celebration. There's food and lots of food. And then when the camera zooms out, they have a bottle of Coke at the end. Now, you only remember their tagline, I think it was last year, it was taste the feeling. I think it changed from open happiness to taste the feeling. I like using this example because it brings this point home. When they talk about taste the feeling, and when they zoom out on that celebratory mood, remember they invite everyone to this house, and everyone is having a celebration of food and bringing family together. And then at the end of the table, there's a bottle of Coke, like a 2-liter bottle of Coke. And then they say, taste the feeling, if you remember that commercial. Now, we've understood what they do. They sell drinks, they sell soft drinks. So how do you taste a feeling? That's the question that someone will ask. How do you taste a feeling? Now, what they're trying to communicate here is we all can identify with some sort of family setup. We all belong to a family. And the things that bring us together are usually family functions. And when there's a family function, there's food. And where there's food, there's drinks. Now, this feeling of togetherness, this feeling of, coming together as one members of a family has some sort of vibe, has some sort of oomph that it comes with it. And then every time people are brought together, there has to be a bottle of Coke. Yeah. So the feeling that we are trying to taste here is a feeling of togetherness. It's a feeling of actually something that we all relate with. And that is a very powerful purpose, because every time, what that commercial makes you do is, every time there's a gathering of family, then you think of Coke, because they have associated family gathering, good time, celebrations with a bottle of Coke. So you're tasting a feeling. You're literally drinking a Coke while you're tasting a feeling. And you see, once you've already bought into that, you automatically, it's almost like, someone has put something on your head that you must always have a Coke, or you must always have a Fanta, or you must always have a Sprite. So we know what they do. But when we look at their tagline on this particular campaign, when they're saying taste the feeling, then we are all tasting the feeling of family. And because we all relate to family, then we are buying into their purpose. Now, the thing about purpose is that we don't buy what people do. Tell me, why don't you buy Pepsi as much? Why is Pepsi not as popular? Yet, imagine it's the same drink. It will almost be exactly the same as what Coca-Cola is offering. Yeah, but we are buying to why they're doing it. They value you almost have a conviction that they value family. And because I also value family, someone else values family. All of us are from a family unit. We buy into that idea, and hence we are always having a Coke every other time. Now, this purpose will keep living for generations to come. I even don't know the current, the current MD or the current CEO, but it doesn't matter. Imagine it doesn't matter. If that person is changed today, tomorrow, we are not buying into that person. We are buying into the bigger purpose of the brand, that this family gathering, this family setup. They almost think of Tusker, yeah? Almost think of Tusker Milele and how it has brought the conversations on sports, the conversation on athletics, that when, people meet to have these things, celebratory moods, then, there's always a Tusker there. So some of these purposes of brands, we buy into why they do what they do. And this was Simon Sinek coined into his golden circle. Now, let me bring this back home to us. Knowing yourself. You cannot know your purpose if you do not know yourself. Now, one step of knowing yourself is know your natural inclinations. And there's a quote that currently taking on self and business transformation. And there's one thing that our coach said. He said that the problem with us Africans, or all of us human beings actually, we always want to fit in. We have been brought into a world of wanting to fit in instead of standing out. So you have a natural inclination, you have a gift, you have a talent that is not common to everyone. But instead of embracing it and taking it to yourself, you just want to fit in. You just want to do what people are doing. You just want to be seen where people are being seen. You just want to be together with people. But sometimes you fight it so hard, yet it is not you. So do you know yourself? Do you know your natural inclinations? What are some of the things that you do naturally that you don't have to be forced to do it? You need to identify those things. That is our practical thing to do, number one. Try to identify those things that make you stand out. Okay? Now, there are 4 personality types, and we all know them. Like, it's common knowledge. If you do not know, I will remind you. There's sanguines, there's choleric, there are melancholic, and then there are phlegmatic. Now, these personality tests all have characteristics that describe them in very, very different terms. Now, just to give you a small sneak peek of a sanguine, for example, if you are a sanguine, then you're probably so outgoing. That's your natural inclination. You're popular, you are loud, you are the life of the party, you just live for fun. Yani, wale wase if you're in a group, they are always the ones who make everyone laugh. And they do it so naturally, they don't have to struggle. Like, people will listen to them, and people always want them to be in their circles because they're the life of the party. I mean, that is a sanguine. Cholerics are leaders. They are confident. They are forceful. They are goal oriented. These are cholerics. Cholerics are people who, there's something that needs to be done, they will stand out. They will say, I will do it. I will lead the pack. They're very confident. They're good speakers. They're good orators. They are goal oriented. They're always very objective, systematic. That is a choleric. Then we have melancholics. Melancholics are artistic. They treasure very close friendships. They are organized and they are analytical. So cholerics are people who are very good with art. They have a very different way of seeing things. They are very organized and they are very analytical. Ni watu wa numbers, researchers, mko hapa, accountants. So these are people who these are the melancholics you're talking about. They have very high analytical skills. They also have very close friendships. And finally, they are the phlegmatics. Phlegmatics are easygoing. Watu wa easy, stay, in my space, we are good. They get along very easily with people. They are balanced. They are steady. They're cool peeps. They are people who, you don't hit the nail on the head so much. No, uko sawa. I don't mind that. Those are phlegmatics. Now, these are the general 4 personality traits that have been described. But one thing that personally, when I was trying to discover my personality, I discovered that I have a bit of one or the other. So I've seen that I have a bit of a choleric. I've seen I have a bit of a melancholic. I have a bit of a phlegmatic. Yani, there's a balance, and that's why it is very important to check a personality test. Now, the first assignment the practical thing that I gave was try to identify your natural inclinations. What makes you stand out? What are the things that God gave you? Number 2, we need to take a personality test. I have personally taken a personality test. And from this episode, I will leave our group link down there. Please, if you'd like to take a personality test, just go to that link, click on it. I will give you what it is that you need to do in order to discover your personality test, and then I will give you results for that personality test. It is very important to do this because it helps you discover your purpose. It helps you to discover what are your natural inclinations. It helps you discover if you are more of a sanguine and a choleric, and most of the time, all of us have both personality. Like we are more of a choleric, which is a major, and then we have a minor characteristic of, let's say, a melancholic. Now there are two personality tests that I would like us to take. There's the 5-minute personality test, which is a different scientific definition from another one, which has 16 personality types by someone called Myers-Briggs. I took that personality test, guys, and the result that I got was mind-blowing. Mind-blowing about the kind of personality that I have. Because apart from the general sanguine, the general 4 that we have defined, which I've really given in summary, you need to take a proper personality test to see how you behave in different circumstances. How you behave when it comes to love and intimacy, for example. How you behave when it comes to career and relationship, and how you relate to other people. How you behave when you are exposed to the world. How you behave in so many things. So I would like to encourage you that please go on and on our pages, I will leave a link where you can, if you're really interested to know yourself and your purpose, which will draw you closer to why you exist on this earth, then go and take on this personality test, and I will send you results for anyone who is interested to take this personality test. So that is what I wanted to share with you today about personality. And please don't just leave it at that. Make sure you come on and let's take this personality test together so that you can better know about yourself. You will know your strengths, you will know your weaknesses, and then you will know what to do with the weaknesses that could make you better, because these are your natural inclinations. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, see you.